All right, how you guys doing? This is your man Bogy. Welcome to the CREW After Hours.
Yeah.
That's right, meaning your kids should be asleep. And if they're not, bad parenting, your fault. All right, so guys, we're gonna go here around the table. So GB, how's it going, GB?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. Just, working every day, but, I'm there. I'm on right now. I'm on my 25 and a half, 25 and a half. No, it's 26-hour fast right now.
Nice,
So
that's
I'm
it.
doing that until tomorrow afternoon. Then I got to start baking some stuff that I'm trying new. But yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Bro.
Hey, keep on going strong, brother. All right, so we got JMoody in the house, or not in the house, out in space.
And
The last
in
time
your
we saw
face.
you were still out there, man. You okay?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, well, remember, take deep breaths, man, because you never know, man. It'll be the last one. Oh, there he goes. All right, and we got O.M.B in the house. What up, O.M.B?
What's going on, man? How's everybody doing?
Good,
Okay.
brother.
And we have our special guest here for, again, this is season 2, episode 15 of the CREW After Hours. And our special guest is Gino in the house. How's it going, Gino?
Thank you for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, Gino's coming straight from Hollywood, about 20 feet away from me because he's next door in the other room. But love the sign back there. And Gino, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we go ahead and start this first topic.
Yeah, sure. I've been a professional actor for over 20 years. I've done at least 100 union jobs in film, television, stage, voiceovers, commercials, and print. I'm a professional. It's what I do for a living. I've been making my living as an actor for 17 years, knock on wood. I love what I do. It's a really fun job. It's a tough job. I was working today while everybody was planning my mom's birthday party. I was literally turning in a voiceover audition, editing one. I think Humphrey knocked on the door and I'm like, give me 5 minutes because I'm turning in an audition. So, it's not always red carpets and glamorous and all that kind of stuff. It's just basically like being a fireman, a plumber, a teacher. It's a job,
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate your intro. And definitely, you're going to give a different perspective of those top 5, compared to the rest of the guys here that, we're huge fans, so you have that Hollywood experience. So we're definitely looking forward to yours.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I just got to say, we work for you. You guys are the bosses. I mean, if you don't go to the theaters, we don't have a job. So, I'm not so sure how important my opinion is, but you're welcome to have it. I'll tell you what I think.
For sure. All right. Well, right before we are about to begin, I want to go ahead and give a announcement. So,
Give me a second, bro.
GB.
Uh-oh.
I got a phone call.
Okay.
I think it's important. I'll be right back.
All right, man. All right, so I'm going to leave that announcement for topic number 2. So you guys remind me, got a special announcement for everyone. But let's go ahead and get into it. So for this topic number 1, we're going to go ahead and talk about each one of our top 5 favorite movie actors of all time. And I'm pretty sure we can sit down and easily write 100 actors out there. There's so many, over hundreds of little over 100 years of movie cinema. But I mean, let's see where the top 5 is, and let's see if some of them coincide with each other. So Gino, if you can go ahead and bring us into your 5 favorite actors of all time.
Sure, I'm honored to be kicking it off. I really appreciate it. And I did give this some thought. I will tell you the 5 actors that have been most influential in my career, who I have found to be the most influential and why I became an actor. And here they are. The reason is because I found them to be transformational. They don't play themselves over and over and over and over and over again. And they are deeply connected emotionally to their work. So they tell a really strong story that's a very human story, so that I identify with them no matter what role they play. And that's what I have strived to do in my career. Um, so it goes. The first is Laurence Olivier.
Okay.
The second is Marlon Brando. The third is Daniel Day-Lewis. The fourth is Meryl Streep. And the fifth is Robert De Niro.
Wow.
Now, I'll just briefly say why. Each in their own way have been leaders as well. Laurence Olivier was not only a huge movie star, he was also the founder of the theater, the National Theater of Great Britain. And he literally discovered dozens of stars and Oscar winners, Albert Finney, Michael Caine, Kenneth Branagh, so many others came from Laurence Olivier because he was a master actor, became a master director, and then became a master producer, and basically gave work to literally hundreds, an entire generation of actors in England on the stage and film and in Hollywood as well. And that to me is when someone is really a great actor, they should not only be responsible for themselves, but for their generation of actors and other artists.
Wow.
Yeah. The second was Marlon Brando, who I consider, to me, Laurence Olivier is the greatest actor of all time. I would say Marlon Brando is the most talented actor of all time. You know, we're probably more familiar with Marlon Brando's work. Laurence Olivier and Marlon Brando were rivals for the best actor in the world, and it's a toss-up between the two. So I say that Laurence Olivier is the greatest actor, and Marlon Brando is the greatest talent, because Marlon Brando was more talented, but unfortunately he wasted it. He was, you know, a lot of personal problems, and you know, he finished his life at 500 plus pounds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he pissed a lot on his career and on Hollywood, which wasn't the best. Now, having said that, I don't think any actor ever has captured humanity more clearly and deeply and universally as Marlon Brando. He's a genius. He's, to me, one of the most inspirational actor of all time. A modern Laurence Olivier is Daniel Day-Lewis. To me, an incredibly transformational actor. He is kind of like the technical skill of Laurence Olivier with the eccentricity of Marlon Brando. But he's an extraordinary actor, and I wish he would do more. And he has his own unfortunate, I don't know if demons or, you know, reasons why he can't do more work, but it is what it is. He's an extraordinary actor, and he's taught me a lot and inspired me a lot. I've seen almost all of his movies. Fourth is Meryl Streep. I studied with her teacher, and I know what she's about. You know, to me, she's someone who is so inspiring and so transformational. And she does something interesting. She changes, she uses accent, voice to get into roles. So she might work outside in and then flips it and becomes the character. So she's not acting anymore. But she'll have a Polish accent, but it's Meryl Streep. That to me is the completeness of acting, when, say, the inside and the outside meet together. Physicality, voice meets with psychology, emotion, heart, and becomes like a perfect circle. That's Meryl Streep. And then lastly, the person who made me an actor, who I once had the pleasure of meeting very, very briefly, Mr. Robert De Niro.
Wow.
You know, because again, transforms, but is so emotional. He was also a great leader, a great restaurateur. He's provided work for tens of thousands of people in his restaurants, Tribeca Film Center, Tribeca Film Festival. He's provided tens of thousands of jobs for people when he says yes to one of his films or he produces one of his films. He, to me, is a great actor because he's not only looking for himself, but for the entire industry.
Nice. All right. And what a heck of a breakdown. So and definitely some of those names, you know, we've heard of. So excellent list, man.
Thank you very much.
All right. So who would like to go next?
I'll go. I mean, I don't mind. So mine, it's no particular order, but
Okay.
basically, I've got on mine. I've Tom Hanks #1 for me.
Nice.
I mean, listen, you talk about a guy that like Gino was saying, transcendent as far as being able to get into a role and just run with it. I mean, my personal favorite of his of all time, Forrest Gump. I mean, listen, Forrest Gump is just a story that's, just blows your mind, because just the way that, he gets into the role and he just runs with it. And I mean, no pun intended, run Forrest run, but
Yeah.
I mean, he really like that's a movie. Robert Zemeckis absolutely like took him to another level with that movie. And I mean, he had already had some great movies prior to that, Philadelphia and all that, and just an amazing actor. I love that guy. Another one, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, not particularly for like the older stuff like Risky Business and them, but for me, the movie that I really like from him is A Few Good Men. Maybe I'm a little biased because I was in the Navy, but it's just him being a JAG officer in that movie. Just the way that his conviction in that movie, convicting against it was Jack Nicholson, and going up against him as being Jack Nicholson being a colonel and he was a lieutenant junior grade, which is a big gap in rank. Just going in and just being like, I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. And, and that really does happen in the military. It really does happen. Maybe not now, but at least when I was in, there was some weird things that would happen. So that movie very much captured that essence of the military in the court side of the JAG. And Tom Cruise nailed it. Like I was like, that's a great depiction. And I love him for that movie. That was a great one. Another one, Gary Oldman.
Yes.
Gary Oldman, I mean, you'd be surprised how many movies Gary Oldman's in is like he might be in your favorite movie and not know it. I mean, he's Fifth Element. Yeah, Fifth Element, The Professional, Harry Potter, Batman. He's been in so many movies that you just
You're right.
Yeah. And you start
won the Oscar for that.
Yeah, you start thinking like, wow, Gary Oldman was in that, and it's just he's so good, like he just camouflages, and you're like, wow, how did I forgot he was in that. But then again, when you go, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, he was really good.
With a net worth of $40 million, I guess he's been around.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's been around.
Good.
Another one. This one might be a little bit out of left field, but I like him just because I guess just the obscurity, but at the same time he's known. But Jean Reno. I like Jean Reno. I've been a fan of his since
the Professional.
Yeah, The Professional. But there's a movie that he did that was I don't think it was ever released here, but there was subtitle. It was called Wasabi, and that's a really good movie. I mean, it's in French. It's in French, but the idea is that he was like an ex gang member or something like that, but he fell in love with like a Yakuza woman, and he ended up having a child and he didn't know it. That's a great movie. I mean, if you ever get a chance to watch that, it's I don't know, it's just he fits into every role like great. He's just like one of those quiet actors that just gets it. And he's been in games too. I mean, he was in Onimusha 3. He was a character. They made him into it like he was a character from Paris in the 1600s, and there was like time traveling in that. It was a great game. Cool. So I really like him. And then of course for me, one of my favorites also, Sylvester Stallone. And reason being, Rocky. I can't say it enough. Rocky is such an inspirational movie.
I work with him on a commercial. He's amazing.
Did you? Man, that's awesome. I love that guy.
He's an amazing.
I love that guy, man. That guy is, you figure, and Gino, you probably know, but like you figure he was offered, I forget how much money to sell the Rocky script, and he said no, I'm gonna hold on to it. And he was so strict in his conviction, like I am not selling this movie, and he ended up sticking to his guns, and because of that, Rocky became what a franchise that became. And it's inspiring. It's inspiring not only for what he did, but just inspiring just the way that the movie progressed. It's literally like a life story where you go from rags to riches and then to rags and then coming back to riches again, kind of deal. It's a great it was a 5 series, and then it became Rocky Balboa, then Creed 2. But just what he did with that, and he just ran with it, and he was able to branch off into other series. But I feel like without Rocky, he probably wouldn't be around. So I'm
Definitely.
just and it's Rocky Balboa is just the character himself is just an inspiring character. Spoiler alert. Uh, he's amazing. The guy is like one of a kind.
Alright.
If I can interject,
Yeah.
I have acted opposite 12 Oscar winners, 5 Tony winners, 25 Emmy winners.
Wow.
I don't think Sly has ever won an Oscar. He's been nominated several times. I assure you, in my personal opinion, 100 movie sets, TV sets, he's the most professional, knowledgeable, consummate professional I've ever worked. I spent my whole time. I was like I was the nemesis. I get to shoot a machine gun at him, blanks obviously. And the armor, the guy who was teaching me how to shoot the machine guns, was the guy on Mission Impossible 3. He was the Mission Impossible machine gun person. But Sylvester Stallone, every single thing that he did on set had a purpose. I mean, from having an umbrella to because he didn't want to get too hot with the sun or get too tan, mess up his coloring. He had his stunt double flown in. He cast everybody. The director, I thanked him for the job, and he said, "No, I didn't cast you. Sly did. Sylvester Stallone did." And then he took a picture with all of us, and he's really one of the greatest film artists that I've ever worked with, and he's amazing. So I agree with you 100%. Amazing.
All
I
right.
love that guy. Love that guy.
Great list. All right. So GB. And just to let you guys know, I mean, this is great conversation, but of course, we try to keep these topics at about 30 minutes. So right now we got about 10 minutes left before we hit that mark. So GB.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I was trying to write a list, but honestly, since I like music more than I do movies and TV shows, I don't really pay attention to a lot of people. But there's some people that I do like, for what they've done. I would say, and I've been trying to look for some female ones too, because I don't want to just say, oh, I'll just listen to guys, all that stuff. But um, he did mention it. Gino did mention it before. Robert De Niro is great. I like old Robert De Niro for some reason. I like the way he is, like a father type and stuff. The movie that got me really into him was Bronx Tale. It's again, I was into music and stuff. My mom grew up listening to a lot of 50s music, especially doo-wop music, which is something that I really like. And I really enjoyed the movie and the soundtrack. And that was one of the movies that I actually loved him in. I do like, let's see, Robin Williams. There was a lot of movies I've seen with him that I've really laughed, and he was such a wonderful person. And uh, I'm so sad that he's gone, but he's another good
Yeah.
one that I enjoyed. I'm gonna put two voice actors now that I've
Nice.
heard of a lot that actually are female. I want to say Cree Summers, because she actually did a lot of voiceover work in video games and cartoons, especially a lot of the ones that I like. And funny enough, I found out she was working when she was younger too. She was Penny in the Inspector Gadget.
What? Really
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, believe it or
Cool.
not. And she and as an actor, she's been in like a different world
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But yeah, I mostly hear her acting. Oh, and also Rugrats. But here acting a lot and doing voiceovers and stuff like that. The second one, as most recent one, if you've ever seen Loki, is Tara Strong. She played Miss Minutes, but she also did a lot of voices, including I think she was the second one to do Harley Quinn in the Batman animated series.
Cool.
So you'll hear her too in a lot of cartoons and video games and
Okay.
stuff like that.
She's
So
pretty.
yeah, and and she's very pretty. She is very pretty, and I think she's also vegan too.
That's
'Cause
important.
I follow her on Instagram, and then she says,
Oh, she's
this,
vegan.
yeah, she's mentioned something about that. And I go, this
Nice.
is something about hurting the animals and stuff like that. And I go, this is the reason why I became vegan. One of the reasons. The other one mainly because of my health. But yeah, she got 4 people there, and I'm trying to think of who else would it be. I mean, without saying, oh, yeah, this person's cool or whatever. But I'll put, for my other stuff, since I do like martial arts, and when I was younger, I was very into, and I'm gonna put them both as a tie. Is Bruce and Brandon Lee.
Ah,
I really enjoyed the movies. I really enjoyed. I mean, Brandon was able to do a lot of acting, but of course, the movie roles they got him because you're a martial artist. You're the son of Bruce Lee. Let's put you in these cheap '90s martial art films, and then when you see The Crow, how he came out, it was great, And at the same, he was so much of my favorite at that time. And I wish he would have been able to live longer. I would love to see him do some comedy because that's my favorite type of genre of movies and shows. But yeah, and that's it.
All right.
nice.
Cool. Good list, man.
Nice.
So JMoody, talk to us. Top 5 favorite actors. Movie
Well, this is kind of a repeat, but I really feel that Michael Caine is
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorites.
actors. Okay.
The Italian Job, it's just, we're talking like, what, like
yes.
here. So that's one. Anthony Hopkins is definitely got to be one of my favorites.
All right. So we got about 10 minutes left. All right,
Okay.
go ahead. Anthony Hopkins, definitely.
Anthony Hopkins. I know this is kind of funny, and he only did a couple, and he did, kind of did some Saturday Night Live stuff, but I always loved Chris Farley movies.
Oh yeah.
I know he's not like maybe like the best of the best of the best of the best, and the biggest actor ever, but Chris Farley, when he did, Tommy Boy, it was just epic for the time.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
Right? When he slipped and fell in the cow stuff. It's the funniest thing ever. So that's number 3. I think John Wayne movies. I know he played the same part every single time, but he did his role well, and I think he's definitely one that definitely deserves some sort of recognition for what he did.
Nice.
Everyone seemed to say De Niro, but so I'm going to pick another one. I think Samuel L. Jackson, man.
Oh,
Killed every freaking role that he's ever done.
Yeah.
So those are my 5.
Nice.
Nice.
Well,
Very nice.
I'm gonna admit something real quick. I do not think I've ever seen a John Wayne movie. I
Okay.
know of John Wayne. I mean,
The
who
Searcher.
doesn't? But yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down and watch one of his movies so I can really get an essence of it. So
Yeah,
all
Dad
right.
loves them.
You gotta
Cool
watch the
list. So,
genre.
Hess, what do you got for us?
How did I get here?
No. So what do you have for us? Your top 5. And Hess, just to let you know, this is my brother-in-law Gino with the Hollywood sign behind him. So yeah, so he kicked us off.
Yeah.
I
Captain
read-
Bogy, just real quickly, The Searchers starring John Wayne is on the AFI 100 that we're watching. The
Okay.
Searchers.
So The Searchers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I think she wore a yellow ribbon and green berets are much better than the Searchers.
Oh yeah, Green Beret was good. Green Beret, that was one of his last ones. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
But for me, it's Humphrey Bogart, Judy Garland, Tyrone Powers, because I'm a big black and white movies buff to the old movies.
I love it, man. Classic. Awesome.
And if you watch She Wore a Yellow Ribbon with John Wayne, Judy Garland is in that movie with him.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have Paul Newman, which I think is how I remember it. And, of course, Val Kilmer is one of my favorites because they're always, there's tons of them, but if I had to pick five.
Yeah.
Everybody, a lot of people say De Niro. I watch a lot of older movies. So I like to watch movies where you see all these guys that work together now, how they grew up to where they're at. So De Niro is in Harvey Keitel is a big time benefactor to a lot of actors. So he got people in with Tarantino, but back in the day there's a movie called Mean Streets. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's got Harvey Keitel and a young Robert De Niro, and it's just a classic original gangster movie type deal. So those are mine, and of course I Paul Newman, Color of Money.
Yes.
Okay, The Hustler with Jackie Gleason as Fats Domino.
Nice.
And Tyrone Powers, all my swashbuckler movies, The Black Swan.
Wow.
Okay, Bogart. In fact, I just saw on AMC, not AMC, TCM. I think I told you guys last time that if you go to tcm.com, where I have Sling, so I watch, you can click on the channel and see movies on demand. They were playing Hitchcock films not too long ago.
Yeah.
And now they were playing Bogart movies, and I saw one called The King of the Underground, which I had never seen before. And it was like one of his earlier movies, like before Casablanca, before all those. And he's like, it plays typical Bogart gangster, movie, but it was really good, really, really well done. A lot of, almost like the original black and white, like, sound in the background, crackling, but really well done. Val Kilmer, of course, he was one of the Batmans, but of course, Tombstone to me was one of his great movies as Doc Holliday. So that's my, if I had to pick five off the top of my head, that's what I'm going with.
Cool.
Love it, man. Love it.
All right.
Bogy, you just watching a lot of Bogart recently. Was it the Treasure Sierra Madre?
Yeah. Great movies.
And Hitchcock, you tell them, man.
Yeah, Rear Window. So I want to share with you guys.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So my brother-in-law Gino, he suggested that if we really want to get, because we enjoy movies. My son Giovanni, he really enjoys movies. So we really want to get well-rounded. to include the classics, because there could be easily a top 1,000 list. That's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the AFI list, an official list, the American Film Institute that has 1,500 professionals in the medium of the industry of movies that have picked what they consider the top 100 movies. So
they voted.
List, huh?
But
they voted.
One thing I will say about that, personally, this is my personal opinion.
Of course.
I never go by what anybody in the industry says to watch.
That's fine. I know.
Because to me, everybody has your own personal preference. And for example, I know a lot of people love Ace Ventura. I can't stand any of the movies. Love Jim Carrey.
Funny.
Can't stand any of it. But,
He's hilarious.
That's just my personal.
So that's a fair point, Brian. Just to give you a little background on what we're doing, Giovanni is moving into the professional realm as an actor. We're preparing him for that, and that list is a reference list. He might be working with Christopher Nolan, and Christopher Nolan may say, in Taxi Driver, when he's saying, "You talking to me? You talking to me?" That look that he had in his eye. I want it now.
Oh yeah.
And so it's more like a library, like a well-known reference library for the professional actor. That's what it's about.
I've watched.
I totally agree with
Cackle
what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I've watched Cackle like 30 times already.
Say again?
I've watched.
Oh,
his movie-
Kekawas. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But what
Well-
Brian is saying is very valid because
Of course.
the guy who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid won 2 Oscars. William Goldman said something like this. I got it all mangled up, but Brian is saying this, and I agree with 100%. No one in Hollywood knows what they're doing anyway.
There's a book about it.
So you've heard of that, Brian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a very I'm going to find it later and I'll read it to you. But no one really knows what they're doing in Hollywood anyway, so you might as well do your own thing. In other words, Star Wars becomes a hit, and everybody thinks, oh, Star Wars became a hit because blah. Then they go and copy blah, and it's all flopped.
Yeah.
Right? So you might as well just do what you need to do, and that's what Brian said. I agree with that.
So
I think there's a place in Hollywood for both. That Brian, the artist, needs to be doing his own thing, but the professional needs to know what the vocabulary of filmmaking is about, so that he can communicate to directors and producers. That's my opinion.
I learned a lot about the industry, just to give you guys a little background, from my father-in-law, actually, because my father-in-law and my wife, when she was younger, he was an author, and they moved to California, and he was in the industry. He actually directed the film. My wife went to Beverly Hills High with like Angelina Jolie and all that. When I look up her yearbook, and he's the one that told me that there's a book called like the 30 stories of movies. There's only that's why all the movies seem to have the same story. And he kind of, schooled me on the mindset of corporate executives. Like, you have all these people from college that are marketing executives, and they say it's all about points. So if I'm a producer and Bogy's a hot item right now, and I say, well, I want to get this movie, well, Bogy might be worth 7 or 10 points. I gotta go get Gino and 2 other actors to get amount of points for them to produce a movie. So in my opinion, that's why so many people are going independent, and you have the Tarantinos and all these and these cult films. So no, I always respect people's opinions and everything like that. I just never go by, because somebody could tell me a movie's horrible and I'll love the hell out of it.
Right.
Same.
So I didn't mean to take you over, Bogy. I know you're
No, that's fine. No. I agree to a certain point, but I would say there's been people that tell me, oh man, this movie sucked, and when I saw it, I enjoyed it. I'm more open-minded and more liberal with that the movie doesn't have to be like a Godfather. Every single movie that can be the Godfather or Star Wars. But I enjoy most movies for what they are.
It's not even that though. Like, I tell people, they say, oh, I'm a big film buff, but yet they've never watched a black and white movie. They're a film buff because they were born like 2005 or 2010, or 2002. And we were having this conversation today when I was at the festival. It's like, well, if you don't watch older movies, like for me, it's the production value. So everything today can be CGI. I can have 10 people in a movie and not once do they have to be in the same room. Or like Heat. If you watch that one scene in Heat where they robbed the bank, it was said that they had more ammunition dropped than a small world in a war in a third world country, right? But it's all CGI and blanks. But if you go back to the old John Wayne movies, and you do the research and you look about how they didn't have squibs back then. They didn't have the rail guns to trigger all the blanks and everything. They actually had real sharpshooters back in the John Wayne and the Ronald Reagan era when he was playing cowboy movies, and that actually shot 3 feet over at the rock. So when that bullet hit, it really ricocheted. I mean, they were marksmen. They didn't have that. And if you want to be in anything in the industry, I think you should watch a well-rounded verse and see how they did it. How did they have a soundstage with 40 girls coming out of a pool that's supposed to be in a nightclub? The only thing that I've seen that ever came close to that was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the opening scene where they're doing that whole musical bit. That was taken from the movies from back in the 40s and 50s when you used to see girls coming out of the fountain and doing this big water thing. Cesar Romero did a bunch of those movies where they were all in nightclubs.
Muppet Caper did the same thing in the fountain.
Yeah, so that was all homage to that. And then you take movies where it doesn't always have to be. If you take a movie like 12 Angry Men, Rear Window, you know, a lot of people didn't think Rear Window was going to do well because it's a guy in a wheelchair in a window. But it's a great suspenseful movie. And who's in it? Perry Mason, right? He's the killer. So it's just the suspenseful thing. I just want, you know, Hitchcock was on. I just got done watching this week and Dial M for Murder, which I had never seen. And again, they didn't think Hitchcock himself.
Movie.
And Hitchcock, they even said in the film, Hitchcock himself thought the movie was going to bomb because the whole movie takes part in this apartment. It's the one room, you know, but it's just a great suspenseful movie. And House of Wax is on my next one. And that's what another thing too is these younger kids don't understand how many movies they've seen that are just remakes of movies from back then. You know, you mentioned Caine, Michael Caine. He's the original Get Carter before Stallone. You know what I mean? So I can ramble on, but I don't want to take up your
Oh,
time.
and Brian, that's literally why we're doing the AFI 100 list, because those older movies inform the newer ones big time.
Yeah, well, I need a new list because I already checked everything off.
Yeah, you probably saw them all, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying the AFI list because, first of all, you know, again, it was set by professionals.
Mhm.
And when I looked at the list, there are so many movies on there that I've always heard of, you know, growing up, 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, a lot of them, of course, you know, a lot of them black and white, didn't sound too interested then, but, you know, I've matured. But, you know, now seeing, you know, that list, you know, I definitely want to get through, even if I can get through 80 to 90% of it.
Mhm.
You know, I'll share, you know, Gino has seen about 69 to 70 of them there. When I did my list, I've seen about 33 of them. So, you know, I'm excited to add a few more. And
Yeah.
actually, Giovanni, he checked off 6. And in this past week, we've watched quite a few. So he's probably up to 10 on
Yeah,
the AFI Top 100. So I would suggest if you're not sure what to watch, but you want to be well-rounded, go ahead and check out the AFI list, Top 100. And
Yeah.
there's other lists out there. There's the IMDb list. There's Rotten Tomato. But a lot of those are based on, you know, how much money they made and all of that good stuff. So I do like the AFI list. So, you know, I'm really excited. And this is also another little bonding that, you know, from all the other things that Giovanni and I, you know, get to do. This is definitely one of those things that is a great bonding moment to, you know, share that experience. So, yeah, I'm stoked with this.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
That's kind of off topic, but you're talking about the bonding between you and your son, which is great. I try to do, you know, for a long time, me and Tyler were watching when he was younger, Murder, She Wrote. Before he went to bed, we watched Murder, She Wrote.
Cool.
You know, because he liked the mystery and Angela Lansbury and all that. Who won the dance contest? I saw a thing popped up on my phone that there was you know, son versus father dance contest of Bogy and Gio. And I was just wondering who won the dance contest.
Oh, who won? Gio won that one at the end, but I gave him a run for his money.
Awesome.
I don't think you did. I don't, and I think the fact that your wife is laughing behind you, it proves my point that I don't think you did.
And again, that's the wonderful thing about opinions. You know, everybody has one. But you know, when I wiped off the bucket of sweat, I said, like, yeah, I worked this one.
I saw what you're doing. I'm saying to myself, he's teaching him about Beach Street. That's why he's dancing like that.
That's Beach Street plus salsa, man. That's how it's done. All right, guys. So listen, that's it. No more conversation. I'm hitting my 5. We got to end this because we're at 45 minutes.
All right.
No, people not going to watch a 45-minute video. That's why we try to keep them at 30. So
take your shirt
top
off.
5. Mine is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come on, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, I grew, at least I know I grew up, most of you guys, 80s. I mean, you know, aside from you know, Sylvester Stallone, you know, those guys were competing for the, you know, blockbuster movie. So you know, he's definitely in my top 5. I'm gonna go with Al Pacino. Al Pacino, I mean, really don't need to talk much. But I would say the first impact that he really gave me, and I got to watch this movie like 20 times, Scarface. So, you know, I mean, it was, you know, that's a gangster movie, you know, Cuba, you know, rags to riches, drugs, Miami. I mean, you know, it was just an amazing movie, you know, something that I'm pretty sure most of us here have watched quite a few times. Tom Hanks. So aside from, you know, all the amazing movies that he's done from his early career, but even Toy Story. So, you know, the Toy Story I've watched so many times, of course, because of my kids. So, you know, definitely Tom Hanks is up there. He's, you know, has
real quick. With
such an
Tom Hanks,
amazing
there's
career.
two movies. With Tom Hanks, there's two movies that I really enjoyed when I was a kid and
Tough
really
shit.
underrated. It was Money Pit and The Burbs.
For sure.
Yeah.
And my
Burbs is
last
funny.
one, and this is kind of biased, but fuck that shit. Humphrey Bogart. So aside from sharing the same name, you know, I mean, I grew up, you know, hearing Humphrey Bogart. My sister was named Marilyn, so Marilyn Monroe. So, you know, so it was pretty cool to kind of have those unique names. And, you know, later on in life, you know, I finally, I think the first Humphrey Bogart movie I saw was Casablanca. And, you know, I've seen a few other ones from there, and definitely an amazing actor. And I know there's a lot of amazing actors around those time periods, but yeah, no, I definitely love seeing him. So yeah, so those are my top 5, man. So hey, guys, great conversation here. We got to end it. But listen, and Hess, if you want to bring a topic in the future, you know, especially with all this information you shared, bring up the topic, man, so we can talk 30 minutes about that, man. So awesome stuff. Thank you guys for contributing. So we're about to go ahead and sign off here. And you guys know how we're going to do this. Again, thank you guys so much for watching here. This season number 2, episode number 15. And we're about to sign off. So GB.
You're going to call.
All right. O.M.B.
Play loud and play proud.
JMoody.
In space and in your face.
All right. Hess.
Eat at Lulu's.
That's it. And Gino.
Hollywood is magic.
And this is your man Bogy saying, "Nuff said."